Hi, it's Dr. Lori, and I'm here with your thrift store shopping list. That's right, I'm going to show you what to buy when you're at the thrift store for your own collection, for reselling. These are the things you don't want to miss. It's like a treasure hunt, right? And I've got the map. I'm going to share it with you. So, objects that you shouldn't overlook at the thrift store, here's what you should buy. Jewelry, fine jewelry. How do you know if it's fine jewelry? If you can't tell yourself, get yourself a loupe. Look at the gemstones, look at the precious metals and the materials. One of the easiest ways to look is to know the marks. One of the marks you might want to look for, 14K. 14K, 14KT for the 14 karat gold mark. It's going to be marked on fine jewelry that's gold. Whether it's white gold or yellow gold, you're going to see it. So look for nice pieces, look for pieces that have some weight and are the precious metals. Fine jewelry you can always pick up. You'd be surprised how much fine jewelry is at the thrift store, and then you can resell it or keep it for yourself. Another thrift store shopping list item is, of course, costume jewelry. Costume jewelry, oftentimes there are hordes and hordes of it in thrift stores, whether it's in baskets and you have to go through it, whether it's in a case and you have to look through. What should you look for? I think you should look for things like these nice earrings by Trifari. I think you should look for the makers' names, some of the famous makers' names, which I talked to you about on some of my other videos and also on my website at drloriv.com. But basically, costume jewelry has a very big market margin. What does that mean? You can buy it low, you can resell it higher. And that's true also of fine jewelry. When it comes to costume jewelry, you want to look for those materials, you want to look for color, and you want to look for, of course, designer names. Not too difficult to find. If you're looking at earrings, whether they're clip-ons or whether they're screwbacks or lever backs, any one of them will do, but make sure you're looking for the names like Trifari. Also, when on our shopping list, this shopping list also features pocketbooks or purses, particularly and specifically beaded purses. So beaded purses like this one has some nice fringe. This one has a nice color tone of the silver around juxtaposed against, of course, the light blue. And, you know, if you're looking at beaded purses, don't be strayed away by those beaded purses that might have a couple of nicks or a couple of little threads that are hanging. If you can, of course, resew a couple of the beads back on yourself, that's okay. If it's in very poor condition, missing a lot of beads, then leave it there. But beaded purses usually doing very well. Which beaded purses should you pick up at the thrift store? Open up the clasp, open up the top of the purse, look inside and see if it says Whiting and Davis. If it does, you definitely want to take that one home for a couple of bucks. So don't forget about beaded purses either. They're easy, of course. If you're going to resell them, they're easy to ship, and they're easy, of course, to keep yourself if you want to start a collection of beaded purses from the early 1900s to the mid 1900s. Another item on the thrift store shopping list, this is your, of course, treasure hunt map, is mid-century modern. Now, not all mid-century modern, but clocks specifically. Clocks have, from the middle part of the 1900s, from the 50s, 60s, and even the 70s, have become very sought after. They're found at thrift stores, estate sales, and other places, and you, in fact, can find them, of course, looking like this. The very popular ones might be from many of the great designers, maybe a Herman Miller. You can also find, of course, pieces like Howard Miller clocks, but you're looking at, of course, these pieces that relate to the idea of sort of the planets around the main sun. So those very, very obvious starburst kind of clocks forms are well known to the middle part of the 1900s, and they should be on your shopping list too. Whether they're wall clocks, as in this example, or even smaller mantle or table clocks. But don't pass up a mid-century modern clock in any form. Another element for your mid-century modern design pieces is to take an older piece and make it look new. So how do you do that? A lot of you are walking by furniture because you're thinking, well, the furniture might be difficult to resell because I might have to ship it. Look for smaller pieces. Look for pieces like nightstands or small chests of drawers. Not large pieces in this case, but small pieces that can be repurposed. That's right. So a mahogany piece or a piece that actually has a walnut color that might look better if you spruce it up with some chalk paint. A lot of you are very talented with the DIY projects and with repurposing. So use those talents to make something that looks kind of old and tired, make it look new again. This is a good example. Always remember to look for the hardware. The hardware on these forms will actually be what takes you to a very good, sturdy object. If the dovetails are coming apart, if the drawers don't fit in well, try to look at it and make sure that the condition of the piece of furniture is good. If it's not good, leave it there. But if you think that it's just based on the color or the design and you can spruce it up, a lot of people are doing a lot of great work with repurposing small scale furniture. And when you want to sell it, if you want to list it, you can list the furniture piece and then you can list it online with a local pickup. So then you're not worried about trying to ship it and incurring shipping costs and all of the headaches that might go along with shipping a larger piece. So stick to small benches, chests, stools, and of course think about repurposing some of those. They're oftentimes very low priced at the thrift store. Maybe it'll take a little elbow grease, but it's usually worth it. Then for the thrift store shopping list, I want you to remember ceramics or pottery. Pottery, in fact, of all different types will oftentimes be easy to resell and look wonderful in your home if you want to keep it for yourself. Like colorful compotes. Compotes or fruit dishes, fruit bowls with a base or with a pedestal and a base. These pieces are oftentimes produced in America in places like Zanesville, Ohio. You might see them coming out of areas of Ohio with firms like McCoy or maybe Hull Pottery. These ceramic pieces, if they're in bright colors and they have an embossed design like flowers, like this example, this would be something that you should put on your shopping list. These pieces are in good condition. Look for chips, look for cracks. A crack is always worse than a chip. If you can see the piece and maybe you can do well to repair a chip, but I think if it's chipped or it's cracked, leave it there. If it's in good condition, pick it up for a couple of bucks and you can easily get some interested buyers into those pottery or ceramic, of course, compotes. Compotes are great as centerpieces, and I always say for a reselling tip, paint the picture for the potential buyer. Give them an idea of where it might work in their home. A centerpiece for a foyer table, or maybe on the edge of the kitchen countertop with some fruit in it, whatever it might be. Brighter colors and nice design elements are always going to be in vogue. They're usually low priced and they're usually right there at the thrift store. So look around. Those shelves are packed. This next item on the thrift store shopping list is in fact embroidery pieces or ribbon pieces. What does that mean? Handicraft pieces are very, very big. Pieces that are actually made of embroidery, or in this particular case, ribbon people. Ribbon people are oftentimes in frames. They're made from ribbons and they literally have something like dried flowers held in a bouquet. Sometimes they'll have a bonnet with more floral details. But in this particular case, you're looking at the ribbon people, which are in a frame. So they're wall art, and oftentimes they are, of course, three-dimensional wall art, and people really like them. This idea of something that's handmade and vintage is very popular today and in vogue. Lots of people are picking them up in thrift stores, and they're reselling for big numbers, big numbers. So where you can get a piece like this at a thrift store for a couple of bucks, you might be able to resell it. Maybe you got it for $2 or $3, you could resell it for $30 or $50. So that's very good. That's a great return on investment. Another good return on investment item is paintings, original artwork. That's right. If you can't identify it, I want you to get out the loop or very gently look at the back, turn it over, look at the back, see if you have a piece on canvas. If you have an oil on canvas where you can touch the texture of the actual pigment on the front of the canvas lightly, then in fact, you're going to know that you have an original work of art. What are some of the more popular paintings? Seascapes. That's right, images of the sea or the seashore. People like that because they think about vacation and relaxation, and people like to have those, of course, in their home. That doesn't mean that landscapes and portraits and still lifes can't be valuable too at the thrift store, but in this case, I want you to look for seascapes. And seascapes can be small or really, really big. And let the frame help you. The frame can help you identify, in fact, whether or not you have a very high quality work of art. Oftentimes, good works of art are in good frames. Quality is what you're going to look for. If it looks realistic, like the way you remember the waves of the sea to look, then it's probably a pretty good piece. But I can help you with appraisals too. You can always send a photo to me of your thrift store finds to drloriv.com. And then I want you to also remember for our thrift store shopping list, glass, particularly colored glass. That's right. You've heard the names of colored glass, glass like Murano glass, hand-blown glass, and others, but I would say glass in general, and particularly colored glass, is always a good bet at the thrift store. Make sure that the piece has some size to it. Make sure if there is a label on that piece that you maintain and protect that label, and make sure that the colors are something that you might like in your home. So a lot of the most popular colors of colored glass are in fact the browns and the beiges, as well as blue, 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 light blue, dark blue, cobalt blue, colonial blue, royal blue, you name it. Blue does very well when you're reselling glass. This is your thrift store shopping list. That's right, it's the map to the treasure hunt. I'm going to help you. I'm Dr. Lori. I'll show you what to look for. I'll see you next time.